Well, it's March 13th. Here we are. We're doing our second podcast.
And where's Bud?
And here we are, no Bud. Now, where is Bud? Has anybody seen Bud? No Bud.
No Bud.
Okay, we wait till Bud shows.
Bud Djibouti.
Bud Djibouti.
Long-time duck hunter, first-time caller.
If you are woke or DEI, I suggest you check out.
Here they come.
Okay, hold up. They're coming around the front.
We're ready.
Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. All right, they're coming around. One more swing. This is going to be it. When they put their feet down, everybody get ready. I'm your host, Rick Schmidt.
I'm your host, Jeff Sukup.
Welcome to Generations Waterfowl. All right, cut them. Let's sit down.
Bud, you're on fire.
Well, hello, we're back again. It's Generations Waterfowl, hosted by Rick Schmidt Jr. and Jeff Sukup.
Hey.
We haven't done this in quite a while. It's going to become more of a regular thing. We're looking forward to doing more podcasts. Actually, I think we're going to get to the live podcast pretty soon. We're inching up towards it. This one is recorded. If you are woke or DEI, I suggest you check out right now because nothing forward is going to be any of that. Dave, welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Steve, welcome.
Hello.
Thank you. Okay. Let's take a moment. Let's talk about our sponsors so you know who's behind all of us with 6 Mile Slough Outdoors. We have our newest sponsor, Hella Dry. They actually have some very creative, innovative equipment designed to go in the water, keep your gun case, your gun dry, all of your gear dry. It's actually truly waterproof. When you drop it in the water, it's actually sealed by air, so you can assure that your investment is safe when it goes in the water. Webb-footed Kennels, we all know that's a premier kennel outfit out of Jonesboro, Arkansas. These guys produce high-quality hunting retrievers, field trial retrievers, and hunt test retrievers built for you. They build a dog for you. They look at Dave's style, and they build a retriever for Dave's style. They look at Steve, they build a retriever for Steve. These guys are first class. That's why we work with them. Refuge Calls. Refuge Calls is out of Bono, Arkansas. They're a custom call maker. They private label custom duck calls for people. We actually have our own version, the 6 Mile Slough duck call coming out. It's called the Downrange Series. It'll be out this summer. And one other important sponsor that I must mention is Corduroy Ridge. It's an artist, country artist, who's rolling out a new album March 21st. It's in his eyes, it ain't a job, it's a movement. This guy puts his heart and his soul into his rock and roll. And everybody needs to keep an eye out on him. He's up and coming. We're glad to have him part of our family. Thank you. All right, well, welcome to Generations Waterfowl. The whole point of Generations Waterfowl from the very beginning was to seek perspective from every type of hunter, because every type of hunter is different. Whether you're new age, whether you're middle-aged, whether you're new school, old school, all of it matters, and all of it's changing our sport dramatically. If you use technology to hunt, it changes it. If you use exactly what you know because that's what you've known all your life, it changes it. The goal of this podcast is to bring people together to share their experiences about waterfowling and how they come at it. And tonight, we've got a few different genres in this room, from old school to new school to middle school, all in the middle. And everybody's got a great opinion on how it worked, how it's working, and how it's going to work. So every time we do one of these podcasts, Jeff and I intend to get information out of people rather than to just talk. We're looking for feedback. So Jeff, I'm going to turn it over to you for a minute for introduction.
Hey, everybody. I'm Jeff Sukup, longtime duck hunter, first-time caller. Just to get everybody else involved, Bud, why don't you tell the people out there on YouTube who you are and what you do?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Dave Ballone, known as Bud. I'm an avid hunter. I love the outdoors. I'm more knowledgeable on deer and turkey. Rick and Jeff have introduced the waterfowl to me. I've been waterfowling for the last 4 years, and it's becoming another addiction, and I'm just enjoying everything about it. And also I have to my left here is my hunting buddy, my son, John Ballone. I couldn't, there wouldn't be the same without my hunting buddy. So I'm going to hand it over to my son and let him introduce himself.
Hey, John. How you doing?
Pretty good, Rick.
All right, right on. Welcome.
I I've been hunting 4 years waterfowl with you.
Waterfowl? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Doing deer for more than that, and then turkey with him. Pretty much everything I've done hunting was with him, so
Yeah.
I like hunting and like doing it with him. Always fun, always a story to tell.
Well, welcome. We're going to get some perspective out tonight.
Good stuff.
Steve, how about a little bit about you tonight?
Well, Steve Waller, been hunting all my life, from a Red Ryder BB gun to this modern era. Started off rabbit hunting, being the dog, to getting some dogs, quail dogs, and been through the whole spectrum. So, rabbits, quail, ducks, geese, deer. If it's on the list, I probably try to hunt it.
Well, I enjoy talking to you quite a bit because I learn a lot about bird hunting. Us waterfowlers, we know waterfowling, but bird hunting is a whole different animal. And every time I talk to Steve, I learn something new. And I think, yeah, that actually is very cool. That's ingenious. And every time I've had a conversation with him, not only do I learn something new, but I get an amazing story. So he's always got a good story. I enjoy it. I'm glad he's here tonight. I think we're going to probably share some pretty decent perspectives and some exciting things and some of the things that happened to us. I think if we can openly discuss the 2024-2025 duck season, how it went, I think all of us are going to agree, even the ones watching, whether you're in Illinois, whether you are in Mississippi, Arkansas, Iowa, Nebraska, the Dakotas, probably Canada, you probably experienced a very, very interesting duck season from start to finish. I don't think I've ever witnessed one like this year in my lifetime. And I think once we get to discussing it a little bit, I think we're going to be able to open up some ideas of what everybody thinks. The fact that we have people here of all different eras brings a lot of perspective to what it used to be like versus what it's like now. And having some new people in this room is going to help greatly, because what they see right now is what they think it is, and it may or may not be that, or it may become that. I don't know, Jeff. What do you think?
You know, you touched on a lot of great areas. You know, but honestly, all these
I don't
different,
have my hat off to show my gray, by the
well,
way.
I'm just saying it turns gray or it turns loose, so don't worry about it.
Or it comes out.
Yeah, it turns gray or turns loose.
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
Anyway, all these genres of hunting, all are connected at some point. Okay, Steve's dove hunting and bird hunting. There's no better way to tune up for duck season than going dove hunting. I mean, that's just my honest opinion, because if you can hit a dove, you can hit anything.
Yeah, doves are migratory birds.
And they're a migratory bird, and they're fun, and they're good eating. So, back to that. Let's hear what Steve has to say about the hunting season lately.
The what?
The hunting seasons locally here lately.
Lately?
What have you seen? What have you heard?
The hunting seasons here lately have been terrible. I used to, going from seeing thousands of doves a year to seeing no doves a year, to being able to knock on a farmer's door to get permission to, you're not going to hunt unless you can afford it. It's altogether different world today, hunting, than it used to be. I was very fortunate to come up through a time where I don't think any of our children today are going to get the luxury of experiencing what I and the people of my generation have experienced.
Yeah, I think that's pretty incredible. I mean, whether it's dove hunting or duck hunting, you kind of hit it all. It's dramatically changed, and there can be numerous reasons for those changes, and everybody has an opinion on those changes. And I think wherever you go in the country, they all say it's changed. The reason why, now that varies across the board, but overall, I think it has changed.
Yeah.
You know, from my perspective as a property owner, I think what I've noticed quite a bit is that the migratory birds are more focused in areas than they used to be. They used to be very well diverse and spread out when they would come to an area. Ducks would use generally large areas, you know, whether it's private land, public land, a lease situation. You had ducks, you had geese spread out all over southern Illinois. Right now, they seem to be highly targeted to certain areas, and I'm not sure if the imprinting is changing, but something's definitely changing. And I've noticed it with doves too. You know, we hunt doves at our farm too, and it has really dropped significantly, and I find it hard to believe that it's continually blaming it on a bad nest or a bad hatch. I think the habitat's changing, and I think where the birds are going is changing. And
Yeah.
you know, I think what you called the great days, Jeff and I have had those great days of our age. We experienced some phenomenal duck hunting, and I think slowly but surely it's changing, and it's changing right in front of our eyes, which is dramatic because of social media and videoing and all that. We now see things that nobody ever used to see. You had no idea what went on in Wisconsin or Iowa. You had no idea what went on in Arkansas or Mississippi, but with social media, you see it that night. Birds are here. We're whacking birds. We're getting on this. We're getting on that. That's different than it used to be. When Jeff and I were kids and teenagers, it was word of mouth. You wanted to know what was going on in Arkansas, you go to Arkansas. You want to know what's going on in the Dakotas, you go to the Dakotas. Now you go to Facebook. Now you go to Instagram. Now you go to Snapchat. Now you go to the Webb to find out how it's going. And I think what we're all seeing are dramatic changes. And what Jeff and I consider to be good duck seasons, Bud, you and your son may or may not experience as it changes. As new duck hunters, you might actually see the change coming in your time. I mean, I have to believe in the 4 years you've been hunting with us, you've seen a slight change in how things are going. You've seen good, medium, great. Would you agree?
Yes, I do. I agree with you, Rick. It seems like, here lately, like the last 4 years, and everybody knows that I'm a passionate hunter, and I really respect waterfowl hunting. I remember the first couple of years hunting with you, there just wasn't much rain. The habitat wasn't there. So that changed a lot. It seemed like the third year, man, they were really coming in. It seemed like there were more ducks coming in. And I was like, oh man, the next year is just going to be great. And this year I thought it was great too, but compared to last year, it just seemed like the numbers weren't there. So I agree. There is something going on. I believe in trapping. I don't know if there's not enough trappers out there helping out with the predators. I don't know if it's the environment or the fields or there's a lot of factors.
That's actually a really good topic because, I'm a contrarian. So, everybody that I've talked to, they don't believe the birds are there. And from where I come from, I believe the birds are there. I see them at the end of the season. I see them come late. I see them come in droves. I believe the birds are there. That doesn't necessarily mean the numbers mean the birds are there, but I believe the birds are there. I think what's dramatically changing from what I can tell is there's been a concentration of where they are and how they're forced out of where they are.
Right. That could be a lot of factors like predators. At one point, predators might not have been a big issue, and if we're not trapping or if we're not managing our properties correctly, these ducks and these waterfowls or geese as well, they're like, whoa, this is not safe anymore. I'm moving on. And they found a safer place to imprint, and they're like, well, I'm going over here, or the weather might be changing. So there is a lot of factors like you're saying. So it's pretty interesting right now how things are going.
Well, I think we're looking forward to our next podcast. We're going to be laser focused with Ducks Unlimited to learn a little bit. I'm interested in numbers. I like numbers. I like statistics. I like things like that. I actually want to hear the firsthand from them how they feel the duck population is going. From what I can read and see, they feel confident in the duck population. The numbers look good, albeit it's not phenomenal. They're good. They're good. And I think what's happening around here is we're seeing a change in the timing of the migration. And Jeff and I hunted a lot together this year, and we were able to see some oddities that you don't see in the past. And you got to actually witness some of it at the end of the season, which was amazing. You got to admit, at the end of the season,
it was amazing.
Have you ever seen so many ducks?
No, not all at once. I mean, it was, I tell these guys all the time, it was like a bunch of mosquitoes in there. It was just ducks everywhere. I'm thinking to myself, the last 3 to 4 years, I'm like, wait a minute, what happened? Now they're all here. So yeah, something's changing where the ducks are coming in later. And unfortunately our season's over, but they're coming in flocks and flocks.
So Jeff, you and I spend a lot of time together. What do you think's going on?
Well, honestly, I think some of these factors could be man-made. I don't necessarily. Everyone knows that the birds are shifting to the west, and that could be due to farming practices. But I kind of have an idea that some of it's a man-made problem. You got some of these big clubs that are going to flood 2,000-3,000 acres of corn, and that's going to stop a migration. They're going to hang out, and until the weather literally forces them the rest of the way, they're not moving.
Yeah.
Just we had that huge ice storm, and it took another week and a half to 2 weeks for those birds to actually push out. Now, was that a result of that ice storm, or was that a result of some big club pulling the plug and letting all their water out, and the ducks no longer had that food source, and then they went south?
Well, that's what we have to talk about. I think there's a lot going on here that most people, they wonder why, they ask why, they say, where are the birds, what happened to them? I think Jeff's onto something, and we've been kicking it around in the duck blind just for fun when there's nothing to shoot. There's a lot of logic to private landowners doing these high-grade hunt clubs that can hold ducks and feed them and take care of them. That's their livelihood. They're going to do what it takes to make their livelihood happen. Ducks they're creatures of habit. They're going to go where the food's at, and they're going to go where the water's at. And if it's northern Missouri or Iowa or places like that have these large duck clubs, in my opinion, they're going to hold a lot more ducks. And Jeff's right. That event that took place this year, it's actually in my notes for tonight's conversation. Albeit it was a slow duck year, it was actually quite an eventful duck year. If you really hunted a lot of ducks, you were able to see this pretty clearly. And the people that don't hunt a lot of ducks, they weren't able to see it as clear. We had what I would call the slowest trickle migration I've ever seen. We saw birds coming at dramatically lower rates. We had birds in our area in December that normally are long gone by December. We were holding wood ducks and teal and shovelers and odd ducks and things that are normally already down to almost the coast in December. I'm talking about in Christmas, right around Christmas time. We didn't even begin to see any mallards until the 1st of January. And like Jeff said, they were literally forced out of where they were at. It's not like they decided to wake up one morning and move with a weather system. They were almost forced out of where they were at. And by the time they got to us, they were sitting on frozen ground and snow and treating as if you normally see during a November. So it was an extremely odd year, and I'm not sure that I can pinpoint it, but I believe the ducks are there. I think they're there. I think Ducks Unlimited and Delta is going to show us the numbers are there, but habitat's changing and things are changing dramatically. And I think as we get through this podcast and we get into the next one, it might open our eyes a little bit bigger than we thought, which is why having a perspective from your side and your side in this to talk about it is good tonight. And, I think we had a strange year. I mean, there's no two ways. It happens. But even once the strange year started to moderate and getting back to normal, things went wacko. I mean, the rain was terrible. I mean, what were we talking? We didn't get rain until the 1st of December?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
And what kind of habitat does that create for ducks? None, because we have food. We have moist soil food. We have timber food. We have acorns. We have all the different diversities. But without water, them ducks, they're not going to be there.
And I also saw too, correct me if I'm wrong, but I seen a lot of flocks of, ducks just keep traveling. And I'm looking at your farm and I'm like, man, this is like heaven for them. Tons of food, tons of everything, covered, swamps, you name it. And I'm just sitting in the duck blind and just watching ducks keep going. I'm like, why aren't they stopping? So that's always kind of on my mind, is what makes a duck commit to a particular property or a farmland? Because there's many times I just see them just keep going south, keep going north. I'm like, that's crazy. You got a prime place. There's like stakes in the ground for them, like pork chops. I'm like, dude, if I was a duck, I'd be hitting this field in a heartbeat. Probably wouldn't make it, but I'd be dead. But I'll be picking your field in a heartbeat. But I always wonder about that. I was like, why are these ducks just keep traveling? And like, where are they going? What do they like that we're not offering them? So there's a lot of factors.
Well, it takes an awful lot to come in at one time. You have to have perfect timing with weather. You have to have perfect timing with rain. You have to have perfect timing with the migration. There's a lot of things that have to come into play. And I'm not 100% convinced the ducks are moving on the fronts like they used to. You used to get a big
Yeah.
north wind, you could count on a migration, right? We called a duck blind the migrator for a reason, because you knew in that duck blind, north wind's coming tomorrow.
Yep.
I'm going to be in the migrator. How many days this season did we sit in the migrator and watch
Yeah.
empty sky?
Exactly. Yeah.
We watched empty sky.
Or they're on the wrong side
Yeah.
of your farm. Like, why are they there? They should be over here. It just,
I'm going to bet that Steve would tell you in the old days, if there was a north wind coming, you knew to go, didn't you?
Yeah, north wind, big storm. You were out there.
It was time to hunt.
That's some of the best days of my life, and some of the ugliest weather you could ever imagine. And but to talk about, to back up just a little bit, you got the days when you can knock on a door and hunt, and the farmer just lets you. And then all of a sudden the farmers found out there's this thing called a lease. And then pretty soon every other door was a lease. Well, we got it leased out or like that. And then it became more monetary. You can't blame a farmer for making money. Everybody wants to make money. I mean, he's a farmer. So he's got a product, and it's a resource.
It's a resource.
So, and then that came from the farmers leasing ground to, well, these bankers and money guys would come in, and they'd buy the whole area. I mean, lease the whole area. Farmer didn't have to worry about it. He had a double crop.
He had it covered.
He had it covered.
He had it
So, and like Jeff was saying, you got these duck clubs now. There's hundreds of acres of feed and water, and they've got their own refuge. So
That's the key to it right
so
there.
the ducks go from here to this refuge, to this refuge, to this big water, to that big water, and then it isn't like when I was a kid, you could just see a pond and go out as if you knew the farmer or somebody who knew the farmer, you could go out and jump shoot them and maybe get a limit at that day.
But I think that's what made this year, I would say it made it interesting and challenging, was because we had a tough year on ducks, we had to treat the ducks like they were a precious resource. You knew you were going to get ducks, you had to handle them like you wanted to keep them. Because if you lost them, your duck hunting was over with.
Yeah, you have to manage the ducks.
You got to manage the ducks. And this year was a wild one for us because when there was a flight, we would get some ducks, but then there was not another flight immediately following, even a week.
No, yeah.
So
Wow.
you go 2-3 weeks without a migration. So whatever ducks came in that first front, you had to figure out how to keep them there to hunt them.
Unless the water freezes over up north with all the food, they're not going to move. I can remember I used to belong to a goose club in southern Illinois, outside of Marion, right down from the Beehive Bowl. And there was, at that time, hundreds of thousands of geese would refuge at Crab Orchard. And it would be, and the geese would know quitting time. I've been in fields where there's been thousands of geese trying to get into the field you were hunting at the time when the hunting time was through.
Those were the days where the hunt club owners watched the incoming flights with binoculars.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a migration today, so they'd watch them.
And there was just, and that was a whole industry itself in southern Illinois, and at least, I'm talking about southern Illinois. It's what I know.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, this thing called short stopping, where these farmers and clubs would start to have the feed there, and then the whole industry in southern Illinois disappeared.
Yep.
They no longer went to southern Illinois.
I believe in short stopping.
Yeah.
I believe it's happening. I believe
Yeah.
it's partly due to the fact that people want to control areas and control their hunting.
Yeah.
And in a way you can't blame them, in a way you do blame them. But I think short stopping is real.
Yeah,
When people
ducks-
use that term, I think
Yeah.
it's very
Ducks
real.
and geese have to have a reason to move.
Yep.
If they don't have a reason to move, they're happy.
Well, we definitely had some interesting hunts this year.
Yep.
I would say we probably ate more food than we did hunting this year. I don't know about these guys, but I think I might have gained a little bit. How about you?
Yeah, probably a couple pounds here and there, but you know, some delicious
Occupational
food.
hazard.
It comes with the territory.
Well, I'm all for gaining weight, but I think this year maybe I would have rather shot a lot more ducks than eat the sausage. But we spent a lot of mornings in the duck blind enjoying good food because the flights were slow. But one of the things I thought was very interesting this year, Jeff, and this I actually pulled up some notes on the farm to look this over. So you got your El Nino and you got your La Nina, right?
Yep.
And we were in the La Nina, and historically, on a La Nina, we get wet, warm weathers in southern Illinois. Wet, warm. Like you get the river train of water coming through, but you might be 50, 60 degrees all day long. This year, we got to 50 to 60 degrees and no rain.
Water.
Yeah, the El Nino was weird because it didn't bring any rain.
Yeah.
And everybody was counting on it bringing rain. And
But without those temperature dips, you're not going to push the birds into your area either.
yeah, you can
So,
put all the water you want down, but if you don't have some movement, you're not going to get any birds.
Yep.
And what was eye-opening was that Jeff has another spot along the Mississippi River here that we were hunting this year, tried to hunt, and because there was no moisture and no rain, the water tables were so low you couldn't keep water on anything, even pumping it. I mean,
Yep.
how many nights were you down there running
A
a pump?
lot. A lot.
I mean, actually, I think you were down there more than you were home.
When the river's low like that, you just can't keep water in that water table.
Yeah. Well, I think the river dealt you fit this year.
It did. It did.
I think it's a good spot.
But every year's different.
Every year is different. But unfortunately, I think that we keep saying that, but every year seems to be getting to be more regular, more of a commonality. So when you get the ducks, like these big clubs are doing, you have to figure out, well, I've got the ducks. I've got to keep them here because we're not going to have a push for, another 30 days.
Yeah.
And we did that. We actually worked really hard this year, more than normal, to protect what we had on the farm. Okay, we would bring guests, we would bring people like this, we would do this, we would do that, and you guys know, there were spots we just couldn't hunt. As bad as we wanted to go in and hunt it, we could not hunt it because we'd pressure our birds, and if we pressured our birds,
They're gone.
well, they're gone. So there's plenty of mornings that we went strolling out there and heard them getting up out of the refuge, what we call the refuge, and badly wanted to go put a stomp down on them, but decided, nah, I think this is a 60-day duck season. It's a marathon. So we're going to have to grind it out. It was maybe a 3 to 6 duck day, but at least you saw ducks and
Yep.
you knew they were there. So I think it's changing. I think it's changing in a way that's unexplainable to most people. This is why having perspective is really good. What I see as a change is not the same as what Steve saw as a change, and what Bud sees as a change is different than what I see as a change. He sees some of these days as heydays. I mean, how many times this year were you in the blind when the ducks did show up? You went, oh my gosh, look at all these ducks.
Right. Oh, quite a few.
I think Jeff and I got tired of watching him stare at the ducks a few days, didn't we?
Mac.
Matt, it is that Matt. One more time.
I was really getting tired of watching pintails not coming in.
Well, that's a good point.
That's
I mean,
just what pintails do, bud. That's just pintails being pintails.
I think overall, it wasn't a bad season. It was not great by any means, but we managed to hold our ducks and get some ducks. I mean, there were mornings we stared at empty skies, and there were mornings we saw just enough to make it fun.
I'm a little different hunter. I mean, I could sit out there and not see anything and just enjoy the day as is. Just being out there is just being in Mother Nature and just enjoying it, and just being with good friends and family. And
Yeah, I think he called you and I a friend.
Really, I thought maybe we were related.
I almost called you guys family.
Careful.
And,
you don't know us.
well, I know you guys. No, it's just, there's many times, and I might be a different kind of hunter, but, just a lot of guys like, oh, I didn't see any ducks, I didn't get any. Me, I'm happy as can be. Just because I didn't see any ducks or I didn't get to shoot any ducks, I was out there with great friends, great memories, and, at times with my sons. And, just what a great experience, just be out there. And, I would take that any day than being in an office or working on a job site. Man, if they say, hey, I need to make a living, go sit out in the field all day, sure, let's go. I'll watch. And the point I'm trying to make is just being out there, enjoying the sport. It's just amazing. Of course, we all want great seasons, great habitats, but like Steve said, it's just nature of the beast. It's just the way it goes.
Well, I think the slow seasons actually gives us an opportunity to pick on people a lot more than
Yeah,
normal.
yeah,
I mean, when
yeah.
you've got a lot of time to kill,
Yeah.
you're going to pick on people.
I get it. There were a lot of days we didn't have birds. There were days where we didn't have as many birds as we would have liked. But I mean, you always saw something cool.
You always saw something cool.
And I have to
The
get
day we saw the black ducks, that was cool.
Got to see the
Yeah.
black
The day
duck.
Bud caught on fire.
Well,
there's the story.
was cool.
There's a story on that.
okay, so we can break for a minute and get a story in here. We can break Q. So you get these stories that you get to hang on to in your brain as a duck hunter that never go away. Some of them you hold on to and forever. You'll never forget them.
Like a golden brick. Yeah.
Like a
golden
golden brick. Yeah, exactly. So we're in the duck blind one morning. It was Bud, a.k.a. myself and Jeff, and my name is Jeff.
Yeah.
So
and I think Senior was there.
I believe Senior was there, as a matter of fact. Yeah, good call. So we're sitting in a duck line, and we had some mallards come in, actually, which was rare at the moment to see some mallards. So they came in, and we stomped on them pretty hard. We stomped on them really hard, and Bud stood up and he lit up his gun, and he was pretty confident. He whacked one or two, and he was very excited, which a new duck hunter should be. That's the whole key. Like, you need a new duck hunter to be excited about being there. You need them to be excited about that moment. Everything going on in that moment captures them, right? It just gets your whole attention.
Absolutely.
Your whole mind
And
is
it
on
and it
what
happens
just
in a
happened. It
flash.
happens.
Talk about-
It happens all the time.
Talk about being in the zone and forgetting where you're at. You're
So-
just in it.
Bud literally forgot where he was at for a moment because he was such in the moment. And when he leaned across the duck blind, he said to Jeff and I, he says, "I'm on fire." And Jeff looked down and said, "Yep, you are." And I looked down and I said, "Yep, he is." So as Bud was leaning over the duck blind cheering the kills he had just had, Jeff and I are peeking behind the blind, looking at one another going, "Well, you want to tell him or should I tell him?"
I don't know, maybe you should tell
I
him.
don't know. What do you think? Let's give it a few minutes. So
And we need to let the viewers know this is about 5 minutes going on.
Well-
and when your waiter's on burning for about five minutes, it
But we
does some
actually
damage.
had an idea. We thought about knocking you over and stomping it out.
We
Sure,
did, but your
sure.
excitement
Stop,
was
drop, and roll. I
you
get
were
it.
way
Safety
too
bullets.
excited. We couldn't control you. So, being good buddies like we
Yeah.
are, good friends to you, we
yeah,
decided
yeah.
to stand and let you catch fire. So
Appreciate that.
we let you go, and then
Yeah.
I think Jeff actually said, "Look, I think we better tell him he's on fire."
Are there fireproof waders?
No.
Well, it turns out they're not fireproof.
No.
So
they're not even fire resistant.
so
But I do want to give a shout out to Ozark Trails. Those are the waders I was wearing. They actually did pretty well because they were melted and scorched. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to test these out. I'm going in. So I went in. Everybody's like, "Buddy, you're going to leak. You're going to get all wet." I'm like, "I'll be all right." I kid you not. They hold up. So Ozark Trail, if you're out there listening, kudos to you because I'm still wearing them and they're not leaking.
well, it kind of reminded me of that scene in Christmas Vacation where the grandpa was standing by the
Yeah.
by the Christmas tree
And his two
and he lit the Christmas tree on fire and his back of his coat was on fire. That's what Bud looked like when he turned around. So
But
being
At
the
least
good
you
friend,
jumped on him to put him out.
Well-
but you guys let me,
no, we literally thought we should jump on you, and then I said, "Nah, let him go." And Jeff
Well,
said,
we could have dunked you.
We could have dunked you. So we, if you remember, we gradually nudged you and said, "You're on fire, Bud." And you said, "Yeah, I know I am." And we're like, "No, you're literally on fire."
And that's when I
actual
looked
fire.
down and, and you realize both of your knees are literally on fire. And I'm like, what I do? And the only thing I can do is just put myself out. So it all worked.
Well, I mean, you didn't die.
No.
We got plenty of those stories, and that, unfortunately, that one's never going to go away. You're never going to live that one down. All right, and
Still got the waiters.
yeah, well, if you had a great time shooting the ducks and you lost a pair of waders, so be it.
Yep.
Not the end of the world.
Small price to pay.
Yeah, and at your expense, we had a lot of fun this year.
Yeah. Anything I can do to keep the fun going.
Well, why don't you tell the pintail story?
Oh, man.
So Bud has this obsession with pintails. Ever since he saw the first one, he's been trying to get back to that point so that he can shoot a pintail.
And by the way, that was my very first waterfowl bird that I've ever saw. And this gorgeous bird flew right over me. And I went to Rick. I'm like, what is that? He goes, that's a pintail. Like, I need that. And ever since then, I just fell in love with pintails.
So I brought down about a 50-year-old stuffed pintail. And while Bud was out of the blind, we hid it in the weeds.
Well, now, wait a minute. Hold on a second now. We might have worked
Sniper.
together on this. This was a little team effort.
Okay.
Because you said to me, Rick, how are we going to get him out of the blind so I can put that over there in the weeds, right? And I said, don't worry. I'll tell him some snow geese landed in the snow goose spread, and he'll go marching on up there and get those things out of there.
And he did.
So Bud comes and gets in the blind. He looks at us. He's smiling. I said, man, a bunch of snows just lit in the decoys over in the snow goose pit. And he goes, seriously? Yeah. He goes, I'm out. I'm going. So he grabs a handful of shells and he starts walking off. I looked at you. I said, now's your cue.
Yep.
But
So we hid the pintail in the weeds, but then we had to find a reason to send Bud over to the weeds.
now, granted, this duck is a unicorn to Bud, so he's looking for a unicorn at the moment.
So Bud came back, and we told him that we shot some ducks, and one fell over in the weeds, and that's where it was, and we thought that it was a pintail. So it was almost Elmer Fuddish. He was ready. He was ready.
Grabbing extra shells to leave the blind.
And I was creeping along to make sure I didn't spook it. You know, I was just inching. I'm like, where is this thing?
Well, why don't you tell us what you saw?
Well, before you tell us that, just know that we were inside the duck blind laughing our ass off. You couldn't hear us, but we're in the duck blind laughing our ass off. Like, wait till he sees it over there, okay?
Yeah. And so I went behind the duck blind. I'm thinking to myself, okay, all right, and, you know, what if? And, this could be my opportunity. I'm like, they're actually pretty quiet in that duck blind. I'm like, whatever. I got a pintail over here. I'm possibly getting. So I'm just inching over, really quiet, and just if it flies or gets spooked, I am ready. Inching. Next thing you know, I see this bird on the ground. I'm like, is that a pintail on the ground? I'm like, okay, he's not moving. So all right, I'm gonna walk a little more slow, inching like a cat. You know, just on its prey. You know, I'm walking. Still not moving. I'm like, like, I wonder if I could shoot it here. Like, then again, Rick got some really nice decoys. I'm like, I don't know. I hate to shoot his decoys, like, but it's a pintail. So I'm going through all these things in my head.
Why is it okay, not okay in that moment, but every other morning it's like, let's light the fucking things up?
You always tell me, Bud, light them up. So, so I light them up.
I'm protecting your decoys, but 4 hours ago I lit them all up in the morning.
Tell me, mommy.
So I'm getting up closer and closer. I'm like, this darn thing is not moving. I'm like, you know, I'm about to shoot this thing. I'm like, wait a minute. Is that a decoy? I went up to it, wasn't sure. I kicked it. And I'm like, yeah, it's a decoy. And my heart was racing. I was like, that could have been my pintail. Yeah. Sorry, folks, trying to keep it clean for family. But yeah, that could have been my moment. I was like, Jeff.
The moral of the story is, be careful when you hunt with old duck hunters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Time. No, he threw a snake at us later that day.
So,
he got us back with the snake.
So I knew Rick and Jeff don't like snakes. Sure
I hate
enough,
snakes.
This black snake just didn't want to move. I'm like, I'm going to get them back. So I picked this snake up, walking around in front of the duck blind. I'm like, hey guys, what do you think? And they're like, boy, get that out of here.
Nope, get that out of here. I'm done. Yep, I'm out.
That's a good get even.
Well, you know, it just gives you room to think about what you're going to do next year. Yeah. So, I mean, we're pretty focused on what we're going to do to Bud next year, unfortunately.
I think you got a lot to work with.
Yeah, I think we do too. I think overall, I wouldn't trade my hunting partners for anything. I think one of the key things is
hard to come by.
It's very hard to come by, and most people do not appreciate when they have good hunters and how to protect that, because
that makes the hunt.
I think from my perspective, if you have good hunting partners, you have to protect it. You have to do what it takes to protect it, because it doesn't take much in our world to disrupt that. You can have a bad morning, you can be frustrated, things don't go right, You can say something you regret, but if you have good friends you're hunting with, they all know you. You guys know me. You know when I'm going to get disgusted, and you know that I'm just going to blow it off. And I know when Bud's quiet that it's not going well. And I know when Jeff rubs his forehead that some shit's hitting the fan. I mean, it's just a matter,
Noted.
It's a matter of time. And
He's had a lot to worry about. I knew him when he had hair.
So
Yeah,
wait a minute. So
So
Jeff,
did he.
I knew him when he had hair too.
so do you get frustrated a lot, Jeff?
What?
Do you get frustrated a lot?
No.
Because I don't see much up there. On your,
You think I just rubbed it all off?
Yeah,
It could happen. It could happen.
Well, I think the frustration can set in when they've made about the fourth pass just out of gun range, and you're leaning forward going, come on, come on, come on, come on, and one of us is going, let's hold back, and sure as shit,
That's
the
it.
fifth round, they're gone, right? So then you see a little bit of frustration, and then you calm back down and you go, oh, what'd you make for breakfast? Let's move on to the next
Yeah.
thing. So
Honestly though, that holding back thing, when you do get them in there right,
it's worth
you get
it.
them in right.
it
It's worth
makes
it.
up for all the times that you didn't.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
You're gonna kill more birds like that than shooting one or two out of every flock.
How many mornings have I told you as they were working and you're wanting to light them up, right? I said, Bud, we're going to do it right. Let's let them do it right.
Sure.
You're going to be a lot happier with
Sure.
it doing it right than you are winging one and sailing one, right?
Absolutely.
You bring them down, you put them over the decoys, and then you go to them, right?
Yep.
And then you've actually experienced something a lot more fun than I got to go chase a duck. So
Right.
I'll pass on the fifth round. I'll pass if it's not killable.
And for me, it's the worst feeling knowing that you shot at a duck. And I've learned a lot of these steel shots can actually go through a duck or hit a duck, and you'll never know if he's dead or not. He could fly another however far they fly. That to me, that is the most frustrating thing. I'm like, I know I was on that bird. He didn't drop. Man, what is wrong with me? I'd rather pass a bird, let them stroke around. If they don't come back, oh well, there's another opportunity. And actually have that moment of them coming in, the amazing moment when they just come in and finish, and you're on it, you know, you're confident, you just smack them. There's no other feeling of knowing that you timed that right. So I'd rather pass on birds, because if we're not ready, we're not ready. If they're not in the right, yards, then, let them go. And
Jeff and I take your shotgun shells out and swap them out with other shotgun shells, right?
I'm waiting on that. I'm just waiting for this confetti to shoot out one day, and or they're backwards, and I'm waiting on that.
Plenty of mornings that we'll go, hey, you got any shotgun shells?
Remember all
let's
those gun cleaning shells we got at that sporting place shoot?
He keeps putting them in your
We
box.
just take those out and we fill your gun up with those.
I was wondering why my gun keeps getting clean.
Well, I have seen frustration in you. One morning,
Yeah.
I think I actually saw it. You're like, if I miss another duck, I'm just gonna go crazy.
I'm pretty competitive with myself. I'm hard on myself at times, because I really want to be good at, if I'm committed to a sport, I want to do my very best, and I want to be committed to that sport. So there's a lot of times, if I miss, I know that I'm better than that. Yes, I will get frustrated at myself. I will never get frustrated at other hunters. It's mostly me personally, because I either should have shot, I wasn't on it right, or whatever mistake I made. But after a while, I'll take that as a learning. I'm like, all right, I screwed that up. Let's bring on the next batch. And normally I zone in and start getting them. But
There ain't a horse that can't be rode, and there ain't a rider that can't be throwed.
That's exactly right. And with one of those shot cams, all you got to do is pull up the video and zoom in, and you can go, look what you missed, Bud.
Yeah.
You were right behind that duck.
that's why I don't
Never
buy.
in front of them. You're always behind.
That's why I don't buy those, because like, oh.
You were talking about all the frustration this year. Now, in years past, I hunted other places. I had more fun this year than I have in probably the last 10.
How's that?
Honestly, just a whole different mentality of it. It wasn't about numbers. It wasn't about. It was just going out there and having a good time.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, hunting is not just about the ducks and the limits. Hunting is about, you go through stages of hunting. When you're young, you want to learn how, you want to first of all learn how to shoot. And then you get into the numbers thing. Well, there's a limit, I gotta do that. And then you find out there's a decoying, there's dogs, and you get into that. And then after that, you don't want to do it unless it's done right, like especially with quail hunting. You know, I mean, when you and retrievers and duck hunting, it's all about the experience. It's just not. It's not about killing ducks. I could personally hunt or go where I want to hunt anytime I want to hunt, but I don't, because I'm very selective about the people I hunt with. I don't want to hunt with everybody. I want to hunt with the people I like. I want to hunt with the people that are safe. I want to hunt with the people who know how to do it. It's the whole experience. It's not, if I can't hunt with somebody that I like and trust, I don't hunt.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, it's fun for me to make it an experience for people. I actually enjoy making the experience for someone.
Love to take a new duck hunter.
Yeah, like when we take a new duck hunter,
Yeah.
I'm not even sure I'm focused on. I'm not even sure I shoot. Some days I think I'm not even sure. Some days I don't even shoot.
Well, you're in a unique position where you can introduce the sport to young people. But I'm talking about somebody who's in it already. Introducing people to the hunting experience is wonderful.
Well, it's exciting and it's fun and it's actually worth watching. So sometimes I'll sit back and watch. Like I'll pull back in the blind and I'll call and I'll just wait and then let everybody unload, and then we'll get the dog and we'll work the dog. And you know, if you tell me at the end of the day you had more fun this season than you've had in a long time, I feel like we had a great duck season, because you probably know this, Steve, but I'm not sure Bud does. So, you know, Jeff and I have been friends for 40-something years. I'll tell you right now, the two of us, that's a long time. The two of us spent more time in a duck blind this season than we have in our entire lives together, because he's hunted at a club, I'm hunted at a club. And, you know, we kind of come together with the experience. Like, okay, we don't need to put up big numbers today. We need to kill some ducks.
Yeah.
We need some good retrieves. We need some good breakfast. We need some good fun. And
It's not just about killing. That's why Ducks Unlimited has a lot of things to add to the whole experience.
well, I'm pretty excited to have Ducks Unlimited come and sit in this podcast with us, one of the local chapters, and get the members here. And, you know, because they've all got perspective. Every one of them hunt in different places. They've got different perspectives. And, you know, I like listening to the different things. You know, like, I know John hasn't spoken much over there, but believe it or not, when John comes along, we used to call him a bad omen because we never killed a duck. And then there were days when John would come and we'd have a great day, and it's like, John, it wasn't you. It turns out it wasn't your fault. You
Rick's
know?
like, bring John. I'm like, oh no, you want me to bring John? We haven't shot
He's
anything
your
with John.
son.
I'm kidding. Dude, I had the best moments being with my son. One of the funniest moments I had with my son, which are tons, but here this year with Waterfowl, he decided to come out. We were, waterfowl hunting and all of that, and as we were ready to pack up, Senior, it nudges me like, hey, it said it's snow out there. I'm like, kind of looks like it. I don't think that's a decoy. So I hurry up and stop John and Rick, because they were riding together on the ATV. I'm like, John, I think that's a snow out there. And Rick's like, go get your gun and go after it. So I walked with John, kind of eased up, and we kind of went to sniper mode on it. And I was like, John, take it. And boom, sure enough, it was a Ross. And next you know, this Ross is just swimming along the water. I'm like, John, go get your bird. Shoot again. And he shot again and nailed it. And one of the best moments, I will never forget this as a father. And John walks up to the bird on his own, does his natural thing of wringing the neck. Next you know it, that body flew that way, and the Ross head stayed in his hand. And he looks at me like, Dad, what'd I do? I just stopped and laughed and realized, oh my God, that Ross head's in his hand. His body went 10 yards that way. So that was one of the funniest things I ever
You didn't
seen.
laugh as hard as me and somebody else did that were sitting in the UTV watching it, because it looked like a dog training exercise. It looked like you threw a dummy and the dummy had went out in the water.
Yeah, I was like, that was the funniest moment, just seeing that. And I'm like, well, can't get that mounted.
Well, before we get to the final topics, I just have to say I I personally had a wonderful time duck hunting with my friends this year.
Absolutely.
I think it was
It's a
phenomenal to
special
have
time.
my best friend in the duck blind with me. It was phenomenal to have one of my newer best friends in the duck blind with me. It made the whole season, it made everything else be background noise. No ducks, bad weather.
That's what it's worth.
It all went away
what it's about.
when you guys were along, because we were able to laugh and have a good time and enjoy the day and, pick on somebody.
And I think that's what was missing from my past.
Yeah,
The laughing.
I've known you so long. I never really knew what was missing. I just know you had good experiences. But if you had a good time this year because of the experience, then I think we succeeded. Yeah, I think that actually means a lot, and I think we're gonna expand on that. We got some things going on that most people don't know about right now, but we'll talk about it in a minute. And with Bud along with the new hunter. Man, you can learn a lot about yourself, actually, when you have a new hunter in the blind. You can learn a skill or two with new people. Like, okay, I can be reserved, I can relax, I can advise, I can coach, I can have fun. And some days you got to just have fun, and to have the new hunter along.
Absolutely.
We're slipping you some blank shots. That's making it fun. It made it fun for us. So.
That's all it's about. That's what it's worth.
Hey, Bud, why
Hey,
don't
Jeff.
you talk to John, and let's hear what he has to say about the differences between. I know he's done a lot of deer and turkey hunting, but let's hear what John has to say about the difference between duck and deer and turkey.
Sure. All right, buddy. We've been through a lot, right?
Yeah.
So we've been a lot of deer hunting and turkey hunting, and here in the last few years, we've been into waterfowl. So what is your perspective of the different seasons, the different games and things like that? I know I call you the turkey slayer, but you explain to me what you think, how you like it.
Over deer, I definitely like bird hunting way more. I don't like on the deer, we gotta watch your smell. He's a big guy on that. Any smell you have, you always get in trouble for it. And then it's still a lot stressful then too, because he makes it real stressful, I think. And then bird, you need to be way more relaxed. Don't have to worry about smell, don't have to worry about tracks. You just sit
So
in
it's
the
okay to have bacon smell on you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Actually, I think that helps with ducks. Sausage and bacon, they smell that.
Oh, that
They
deer
come
bacon
closer.
in there too? Oh,
Yeah, they come closer.
No, deer bacon.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, for
I
sure.
mean, he worries a lot about deer hunting. He stresses.
There's a lot of stories I haven't told you about my deer hunting.
I don't know.
times.
I haven't had a big problem with it. I got a 13-point buck on the wall,
So-
and he doesn't yet.
So let me tell you a quick story of why. I do a lot of research. My passion is deer and turkey, and now it's waterfowl. But turkey and deer is still in my heart. I pretty much taught myself how to hunt, things like that. And I just did a lot of research, a lot of time in the woods, did everything I could. Every new product came out, I bought, I tried. Sure enough, I walk out in the woods and doe just blows at me. I'm like, son of a gun, what am I doing wrong? So after years of experience with this, I finally figure out, I think I got it down pat. So as a good father, I'm like, I got to pass that down to my son. And I was like, all right, bud, this is what you're going to do. So these guys are like, whatever, Dad, I ain't doing all that stuff. They go out there right in the stand, not a problem. Oh, Dad cripples along and gets blown. I'm like, how's this possible? And my lovely wife, my beautiful wife, she also hunts too, and she'll go up there and starts
That's a pretty good
drinking
plug.
I
coffee
was gonna say.
and doing all this stuff. She shoots a deer. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? So I'm convinced these deer must know me. And so yes, I'm very avid about scent control and all that. And when I go duck hunting, I love it because I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. You're right.
Every gas station in Perry County literally has your picture on the back side of the door
So
or next to
that's
it.
funny you
And
said
the
that.
deer do that to you.
That's funny you said that. We were actually, it was opening day. It was the opening day of shotgun season, and John and my beautiful wife Maggie.
What's going on here?
I don't know.
Okay.
He's got to
Yeah.
do that unless he gets in trouble. So.
No,
He's
she
really
is.
pissed. He's playing this up.
She is the most beautiful. She's my angel. I just want that on record.
Were you in the same duck blind I were a couple weeks ago?
Anyways,
Okay.
carry on. Back to the topic. Yes. So we were driving, and John has a bloody nose. I'm like, are you kidding me? Right now, we have to be in the stand. He's like, Dad, my bloody nose. I'm like, oh, I have to pull over somewhere in Pickneyville gas station.
This was 3 years ago.
Yeah, and next thing you know, my wife had to do the ladies thing out of respect, and she comes back in the truck. I'm like, you just wash your hands with sand and soap? And she's like, I did. Why? I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna be an interesting morning. You got bloody nose, sand and soap, and we're gonna see what happens. Sure enough, I'm like, John, just go to the nearest stand you can go to. And I told my wife, just go to her stand. Sure enough, I'm kicking myself to this day because John gets to the stand that I thought about going into, or my wife was talking about going into. And about a couple hours later, I hear, go ahead.
We walk in at like dusk. I mean, not dusk, but dawn. So it's getting light out. We're all rushing because we're going behind. So my mom goes to her stand in the back. He goes to the Rich's stand. And I was supposed to go all the way down to the timbers down the property, which is a way far walk. We decided not to, and I'd stop at the first stand we have on the corner. He says, all right, everyone be quiet. You're going to freak everything out. Let everything settle. So we're all sitting there. It's cold out. It was opening day 3 years ago. It was like single digits.
Single digits,
Single digits out. It was freezing. My mom's got her coffee, and she's got a sleeping bag over her and everything.
I don't know how she did that.
I think she dropped her coffee that day, didn't she?
Yeah,
she dropped her coffee in the stand, and he was freaking out because of the smell and everything. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting there, I'm texting him, I look over. Big 13-point buck walks over. I get him, and I keep freaking out and telling them, hey, guys, this big buck just came, I just shot it and all this stuff. And they're like, no, you didn't.
Like, you know what Dad is like, yeah, whatever. And go ahead.
And he's saying it's okay, don't worry about it, just sit there, we'll look at it later. I'm like, no, it's here. It fell down right over there. I'm going to get down and look at it. No, wait, I'll get over there. We walk along, and he sees it and goes, no way. What did you just shoot? Because he's after this big 8-pointer, real tall 8-pointer for the last, all of our archery, shotgun, and everything. He's after that one. And he thought it was that one, but it wasn't. And he was so surprised when he finally got up to it and we saw the buck, and he didn't believe me that I actually shot that one. And later that day, my mom shot another doe, and he went that whole season without getting anything.
Yep. Yeah, old Dad, the killer and all that, pretty much got stomped. So yeah, that's how my luck is.
And you were trying to keep the scent down on
I was
yourself,
trying to do everything by the book, and I got skunked. So, but overall, duck hunting's a lot of fun. You would like to see younger generation to come in, right?
Yeah, duck hunting's really fun to start off on too. If you're not used to hunting, I think duck hunting's pretty good starting.
I think duck hunting being a group sport is a good one because you can laugh and everybody talk, and you're not doing that scent thing, and you're trying to hide good, but the reality of it is you're in a duck blind. You're only.
It's doing the hiding for you.
It's hiding it for you, and
yes.
If you miss, so what? We're all going to laugh at you, and next time go around, you whack one, right?
I'm just glad ducks don't smell.
Yeah, well, I have to tell this story, and I since we got through this piece, I do need to tell this about the Ballone, so we'll add this to it. So we had a morning that the entire Ballone family, Bud and Maggie and John and Sam, came hunting with us, and Sam is Bud's youngest, and at the time he was pre-puberty, I think, right around puberty, something like that. He was not terribly tall like Bud is. I mean, now he's tall, right?
Oh,
big boy.
Yeah.
So we go out to this duck blind of mine, and one of the blinds out in the woods, and we're walking out there, and I said, now be careful, because if you fall in today, you're going to be cold all day. I get in the duck blind, I'm putting the dog away, I'm putting my bags away. I hear the Ballones begin to climb in the blind, and I hear one of them going, oh crap. And I thought, what went on? Well, I guess, I'm not sure exactly how it happened, but Sam fell in the water or something, right?
Yeah.
So he's soaking wet. I said, well, you're going to take the clothes off because you're going to be cold. So he turned the heaters on and hang his clothes up. He was cold. You could tell he was, I don't want to say he was getting bored, but he was sure we weren't seeing ducks. So you know that mode, right? You kind of get, oh, okay, doodle, doodle, doodle. So a nice flock of mallards come in. We worked them right to the carpet. And we had them down low. And I said, let's get them. And I didn't even shoot. So Sam stands up, and I had him right next to me on purpose so that I could keep him close to me while they were on the other end of the line. Sam stands up and shoots. Bang, 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 and he dropped a duck. And I think it was his first duck.
It was very
I'm
first
pretty
duck.
sure it was his first
was.
duck. He looks at me and he goes, did you shoot? And I go, I didn't even pick up my gun. I got that duck. Oh my God. He was jumping up and down the duck blind. He was doing some kind of happy dance. And, he said to me, are you sure you didn't shoot? And I'm like, I didn't shoot. Just seeing his smile and that moment was the whole day to me.
I am very fortunate as a dad that I get to see all of my family members get something first. You know, I saw him and my beautiful wife first deer, my youngest son, and his first
And he's
duck.
on a roll tonight. Isn't he?
But he said, wait a minute. Now I got to interrupt him. He says that, and then when I'm in the duck blind with them, what's the first thing he tells you, John? I got that one. I got that one.
That was mine.
That was mine. I saw that.
Bunch of
No,
claimants.
no. I mean, all fairness, you
Well,
know.
no, he does that like the first one go. Like, oh, I'll let you have the first one. But after that, it's game on.
It's game on.
It's like
everything.
competitive. He's very competitive.
I'm in the zone. I'm very competitive.
If you
know.
shoot one in the morning, oh, then you're screwed the rest of
John,
the day.
here's the deal. You're younger and coming up. He's older and getting
Oh,
slower.
I know.
You can kick his leg
You
out.
have yet to hit your prime. He's past it.
Yeah, I need all the help I can get.
Okay, well, that was some great stories. Thanks, bud.
Anytime.
We appreciate getting some perspective from you and your son. I mean,
Thank
as
you.
new hunters, it's a good thing.
No, I can't thank you and Jeff enough. Really, from the bottom of my heart.
I'm so glad that you guys could come up here and sit in on tonight's podcast. And we're going to invite a lot more guests to come to the podcast and to share some of their stories and their perspectives. And Steve, thank you for coming. This was a really big deal.
On his birthday.
On his
Last-
birthday,
Oh, happy
no
birthday,
less.
Steve.
And
23?
Yeah, 23.
Okay.
I think that listening to you definitely gave me a better perspective of what you see things changing. And that's important because there's a lot going on that go right past us we don't even recognize that you're able to identify with. And that's what I appreciate about having different people on this podcast is to get that perspective.
And I want to thank Steve too. Is that it's such an honor to get to know you and be friends with you and go on a couple of hunts with you. Any opportunity I can hear your stories, it's an honor to, because a lot of generations don't realize that you need to take the time out to really listen to your older hunters. Not saying age hunter, but the guys that have been out there for a long time. You need to stop and just listen to the experience, listen to the stories. That helps me become a better hunter. So I appreciate that, Steve. All the stories and all the experience you've helped me with, things to look for, like go with the flow, things like that. That really helps me to be a better hunter. So, the things that I learned from you, I will never lose. So I appreciate your time and your experience and the stuff you shared with me.
Well, I've had a lot of fun, and I'm glad I'm around to have someone who likes to hear my old stories.
Absolutely.
They're very entertaining. I never walk away from them without a big smile.
No.
I'm glad to be able to tell them. Yeah. Well, this is a great place. What are you doing here?
Okay, well, we knew this question was
Funny
coming.
you should ask, Steve.
We knew this question was coming. So the three of us, Jeff and Bud and myself, we've started a new venture. We actually decided to do something we're passionate about and take it to a fun level. Everybody has a job. Some people really enjoy their jobs. Some people don't. I think we're a mixture of that right now, but what we are in agreement with, which is what drove this, is a passion for hunting. And the passion for hunting bled over into providing quality products and quality things to people that are in the hunting industry, whether you're in the waterfowl industry, whether you're in the turkey industry, whether you're in the deer industry, whether you're in the retriever game. The whole goal here, which was expressed earlier, is to make it an experience. And in my world, hunting of any kind should be the experience. And our goal in this passionate business that we're in right now is to bring your passion to life for you with the right equipment to do this. And it's not as easy as it looks. The internet's a big place. You can shop all day long. You can't touch things. You can't feel things. You can't get opinions from people on the internet. You can read reviews. You don't really know if they're real. We've actually opened a store, a brick and mortar store, and an online store to help support people that want to buy quality equipment. And they want to walk in and do a one and done instead of try 6 different things that didn't work before they get there. And our passion is bleeding into this. And I think if you look around in the building, when you come in, you'll realize there is a lot of passion in here. What we're doing is clearly expressed in this building and in this business. And when you talk to each one of us, you're going to find out we're individually passionate about our portion of it. And, you know, from the perspective of the business, Bud is handling all the passion behind turkey hunting. It's his passion. Jeff is handling all the passion behind waterfowl hunting. It's his passion. Hell, he smiles every time the word even comes up. Retrievers are my passion. I mean, it's something I love. I love the game. I love the people involved. I love the dogs. I've taken a new perspective of duck hunting because of dogs. And I think if you bring all that together and you make it available to other people that can feel it and touch it, you have something to sell. And I think that, you know, when it comes to this store, because you ask, what are you doing? We're actually trying to create an experience. You know, we're trying to create something that when you walk in this is an experience. It's not just a store to buy something cheap off the shelf. This is a family small business dedicated to what we're doing. There's nobody in here that isn't passionate about any of this, extremely passionate. And I'd like to take just a couple quick moments to let Bud talk about our turkey arrangement, and Jeff talk about our duck hunting arrangement, and I'll tell you a little bit about the retrievers, and then we'll get to the big news of the night. So, Bud, why don't you give us a little rundown on the turkeys?
Thanks, Rick. I really appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, like Rick said, I'm a passionate turkey hunter along with my son. There's nothing like out there hearing that first gobble, first thing in the spring, you know, just gobbling away. So I've done a lot of research over the time. I use these calls, and a lot of folks know who this turkey hunter is. He's also the turkey call maker. His name is Shane Simpson. I believe that is the best of the best. It goes with our model here to offer the most premium gear for our customers, for our clients to use. So when you come into the store, you'll see our turkey section. We'll have Shane Simpson and Higgins. I actually used Higgins decoys last year, and I actually got a beautiful tom. So the Higgins and the Shane Simpson turkey calls are phenomenal, and definitely come in. I'll help you guys find the right mouth call, because that is the key in turkey hunting, just like duck call. You gotta have that right mouth call to make that bird to respond. So come on in, and I'd be glad to help you out with the turkey section. Like I said, we got phenomenal calls. There's Shane Simpson. You would be amazed the difference of a good quality in your average turkey call. So if you guys want to get a turkey this year, come down and see me. I'd be glad to help you out. And looking for turkey season's around the corner. Looking forward to the season, and I'll be using Shane Simpson and Higdon decoys, and more to follow on that. Jeff.
Thanks, Bud.
On to our waterfowl section.
See, I told you, passion. Look at the smile.
Well, I'm just saying we're gonna have a lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a little on the high end, but it works, and it's tough as all get out. That's the biggest part of it. We're gonna have refuge calls. Those are fantastic. We're hoping to get in with Rich and Tone. That's still a work in progress. But we're going to have all this stuff, and it's going to be good quality stuff, because if it's not good quality stuff, we're not going to have it. Yeah. I don't want to use it. He doesn't want to use it. Why even represent it? So, I mean, that's really the plan. And then here's a whole other thing with the brick and mortar store. You're actually going to be able to walk in here, pick it up. I mean, how many times have you ordered something off Amazon and you thought you were getting something this big, and you get it and it would fit on a keychain? Maybe that's just me not paying attention to the details on Amazon, but it happens.
Yeah.
I have a fish fryer at home that I thought was this big, and now it's this big. So,
Guess we ought to get fishing.
yeah, we should do that too. That's another big thing. But anyway, guys, it's going to be a great store. We're really trying hard to get all this quality equipment, get it all set up. At the very least, you can come in and look at it. We're talking about all these different things we're going to have in the store. I mean, we got the swag. The swag's really cool.
We got some cool swag.
And,
no doubt about it.
We're always working on new stuff. So,
You know what I think's interesting is some of the products that Jeff's picked, and Jeff's handpicked some of these products. And I think what we have found hunting over them is you have to see it to believe it. In order to understand what you're buying, you have to see it to believe it. And most people don't get that opportunity to see, why is that decoy more expensive than that decoy? Well, the answer isn't the manufacturer is just making that much more money in that decoy. That decoy is premium built. that detail, the detail in that
Foam
decoy
film.
is phenomenal. And when Bud decides to shoot the decoys, tomorrow they're not going to sink because occasionally they get shot.
Sometimes they're too realistic. I
Yeah,
know better.
and it's the same decoy that when we pull out of the water and we slap over our shoulders and we throw it on an ATV and it falls off while we're driving and we run over it and it gets stomped in the mud and it gets hung up for the season, it comes out the next year looking like it just was from the previous year. So all of us, all three of us have something very common. We've all bought lots of junk. We have piles of junk in our house and they're just sitting there collecting dust. So we all agreed we're going to sell quality products that when you use it, you don't need to return it because you're not going to want to. You're not going to wear it out. You're not going to bring it in and say it's broken. That's one of the key things, whether it's turkey hunting, whether it's duck hunting, it doesn't matter. We're trying to put together something that you can count on.
On another note, like our turkey calls, those are handmade custom calls by professional turkey hunters that actually go out in the fields and do this day in, day out. So we're getting the quality of the best stuff, just like the waterfowl decoys. These guys put a lot of time and effort to make sure we get the best quality decoys. So when you go out there, it's going to be realistic. You're going to have phenomenal hunts with our decoys and our products.
And now when it comes to the retriever game, this is a new one, and most people in this area are just beginning to get into it, and I think it's really going to take off because there's some great people here locally to help it take off. The retrieving game is not just a duck hunting game. The retrieving game these are actually athlete dogs. These are next level dogs. And I got into dogs about 20 years ago by accident hunting with someone, and a dog trainer showed up, and he had a field trial lab with him, and we were hunting. And I watched that field trial lab work. I watched it in awe, and I said, I can't believe a dog is capable of all those different things at that level. And he said, that's an athlete. That's not a dog. He was a little insulted that I called it a dog because he called it an athlete. And I said, I've got to get one of those. So I purchased my first athlete Labrador in 1997 when my son was born, and I haven't turned back. I don't have the patience and the talent to train these dogs, but I have an appreciation for the people that do, and I can appreciate professional trainers that put all their life and their blood and their sweat into these dogs because they're a product of them. And when it comes to kennels, where you go for a dog matters dramatically because the lineage, it's all about the lineage and what you can count on. If you go to these training facilities and you see these guys working with specific dogs, it's easier on them because the lineage is so much better. They're going to get a better dog because of lineage. That's brought me into a new game. Now I'm going to do the hunt test. I'm going to do the hunt test game. We're training up dogs. I have a dog. I have another dog getting trained. We're getting ready for this hunt test. And we're going to offer these dogs locally here to people as well. So if you want to entirely outfit yourself for waterfowl hunting and you're up for an athlete retriever, we'll have them available to you. We'll post videos. In fact, I think I'm supposed to do this. Like this video over here, and like this video over here, and like that video up here. Anyways, that was supposed to go on a lot earlier, I believe, but nobody prompted me, which somebody should have prompted me, but we got it now. But
What was that? Like
this and like that.
Yeah.
And go like Higdon Outdoors for all the turkey and waterfowl decoys. Go like Hella Dry for all the bags and the gun cases because they're first class. And definitely go like web-footed kennel retrievers. These guys are top notch. You want a dog built, that's your guy. All right. Well, I think we've had a pretty interesting evening. A little bit of fun, a little bit of education, a little bit of learning, a little bit of teasing. I think it's pretty cool to see the perspectives and hear everybody's
Absolutely.
discussion. And you and I always manage to have a good time.
Oh, yeah.
It's somebody's
Everywhere
expense,
we go.
right? Somebody's expense, it's going to happen.
As long as it ain't us.
Yeah, as long as it isn't us. And I think there's one other thing. We expressed our passion for the things we love. Bud expressed his passion for turkey hunting, and you expressed your passion for waterfowl hunting, and I expressed my passion for learning the retriever game. But I think the audience needs to know something new is coming, and
It's coming.
It's coming down the pipe. I'm very cautious in what I want to say about it, but I do want to give a little bit of an understanding, and everybody can see the passion that comes from Bud and comes from Jeff and myself. So we're launching a line called 6MS. It's going to be branded clothing wear. It's going to be very specific clothing wear. We've engaged a company to help us do this. I don't want to tell too much about the design of the apparel, but I will tell you this. It's going to be branded and designed to be very friendly to both genders, male and female. I think the hunters are going to love it. I think the females are going to think it's a fashion statement. I'm excited. I'm thrilled. It's going to take 9 to 12 months to launch this thing. I've got the best partners in the whole world in this to do this. They love the technical side of it. I love the business side of it. And bringing that brand to life is a passion of mine right now. So, if you want to hear some passion, here's some from Bud firsthand.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks, Rick. I'm not a fashion guy, obviously, but to be experiencing in this whole new world of fashion, I am just so excited. And I tell you what we're about to offer you down the road, it's going to be amazing. I can't wait for this item and this product, and I think it's going to be such a I'm trying to find the right words. It's just going to be amazing for everybody. Like Rick said, for all genders, it's just going to be a wonderful thing that we're all been looking for years, and we finally are able to bring it to the table. So stand by and get ready.
Yep, Jeff, what do you think?
You know what? It's a very new journey for me, and I've learned a ton. I learned a ton just the other day. It's crazy, just the stuff that you didn't know how this all worked out and how it all panned out, and so it's a learning experience. I think it's going to be amazing when it actually happens. I can't wait to actually get my hands on it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I want one for me. I want to get one for my beautiful wife, Jen.
And Maggie.
Hold on a minute. Now, I have a beautiful wife, Lisa. She's a redhead, okay? So I have to say that about her. And she's the best wife ever when it comes to hunting season. Noticed I clarifed it with hunting season. Right. Now, I will tell you, though, I don't know about your spouses, but mine is thrilled to death with this thing, with this new 6MS launch.
Yeah.
She said, "Is that for real?" And I said, "That's absolutely for real." And I said, "We're going to hit it head on." I said, "This is not a collection that I have to go it alone and stress over it and worry about it at night. I got partners that are incredible. They're into the design, they're into the fashion aspect of it, none of which we know anything about, but are learning. We have a concept that nobody's touched yet, and I think it's going to be pretty cool. If all plays out right, we'll have some prototypes maybe later this year to put up in the podcast for people to see before the hunting season starts. And this podcast is just going to keep growing. I'm very excited for the brand. I'm very excited for this store. I'm excited for my partners in the room with me. I actually can't wait till the next journey. I'm already mentally thinking about the next podcast. So thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Thank you.
2003, and of course our Sport Dog Team of the Year.
That's how they qualified for this year's championship.
You get that short right first.
He's going by it. He's actually going to drive by that boat and go to the long right-hand side of the flower pot. If this works out, this could be the way to run it.
I had an urge when you talked about your new dog being built to ask you if your beautiful wife Lisa knew about that.
Fuck, that's in there now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.